a
All
little.
right,
Yeah.
well.
Just a swizzle,
Guess-
you know, like not a lot.
Try this
Quarter
again,
of a
part
cup.
2. We don't know what happened there. We lost our
Part deuce.
internet. Just
Deuce.
took off on us. Sorry about that, everybody. If anybody decides to come back now, maybe they'll get the notification and come back.
Let's start off talking about religion and see how long it goes.
Yeah, see if we get crapped out on it.
Yeah. That'll
We
be
got to
fun.
get that internet
And that's
situated.
I got a perfect jump-off point for us too.
Oh,
It
yeah?
made me think of something, bro. Whenever I heard that.
So are we rolling with
Are we
this?
rolling?
Yeah,
now?
well, we should be as far as I know.
Hey.
I don't know what happened there.
Back to
Oh, I'm getting a
Outhouse.
notification, so we must be.
Oh
where we
man.
talk shit about
We're back.
shit. Tonight we got Trevor Tolley from
Again.
Rogues Hollow
Third
Paranormal
episode.
Back taking a deuce.
13A.
and Automotive.
You know, this is episode 13 also, which is kind of symbolic, I would
That's
say.
right. Lucky
It
number
is ironic.
13. That's why maybe it went off right when we
would
started
catch that.
talking about the big Mamu religion. So you identified as a Catholic, you
Biggest.
said, and then we started talking about the Bible. And, you know, again, Lonnie, he had a real good saying that he got from his, I believe, was it his aunt or his mother that was like the televangelist or the radio evangelist?
Yeah, he had a lot of sayings. Which one?
Well, Bible was what they call it, an acronym. It was basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
Right,
I
mate.
always
Wow,
like
nice.
that. That's a good one because
Right,
it
mate.
is. It's great, you know, basic instruction, you know, on how to live your life properly.
I was going to ask you, Tom, why you didn't have your cool hat from last episode on,
Well,
but now I realize
you
it.
realize, yeah.
Yeah, it's
see.
like, oh, okay, he's
Yeah.
got the ensemble
Right.
going on.
And I
Right.
think
Yeah, that's
even
good.
back then when you and I had these discussions playing poker in the living room and we'd all get deep, you know,
Oh, I like that
late
ground
in
roll.
the evening. And we were all into that deeper philosophy stuff, but we were all starting to dabble in that conspiracy theory stuff too because it was 1999 going into 2000. Y2K was a big thing. The home computer was a big
Y2K.
thing. There was a lot of hysteria around all of that. And did the conspiracy theory thing stick with you? Like all these years later, because it's been since then, since we've really hung out when we shot that movie with like 01.
I will say this.
you
I
pooping
went
over
deep
there?
into the rabbit hole.
Looked like he was trying to squeeze a
was-
fart out or something.
Man, I'm looking all fat on
Oh,
camera.
he's sucking it in.
It's giving me 20 pounds.
Hold on, let me
I
see
think.
if it helps.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Silent,
totally
but
better.
very violent.
But
Keep it like that for the whole rest of the episode and you'll be fine.
but no, I went far deep into the rabbit hole.
And I got to know how deep, like where, brother, because we did go in opposite directions, you and I, and it was 24
Well,
years
let's say
ago.
9/11 was a huge wake up, huge.
Oh, that's right.
That happened around that
And then-
time period, and that really opened my eyes to a
That's
lot of
right.
things because I watched things happen live that later they tried to change the narrative on, but no, I watched it with my own eyes. So that kind of woke me up quite a bit, and then I started to find out who really pulls the strings and a little bit more about the history that they don't really like to tell us about. And then I tried to warn everybody about what was coming up until
There
probably
went $20.
A truther.
yeah, I would say until about 2000.
Call yourself a prepper.
I was
kidding.
at one time.
Because it seemed like you were, I remember that.
Prepper.
Yeah,
I was on the periphery, but I remember
Yeah.
that time.
yeah.
I was a prepper too, man. I hate making salad.
Wasn't that the slogan for a soda? Like, I'm a prepper, he's a prepper.
Dr.
Would be a
Pepper.
prepper.
Be a prepper too.
But yeah, no, I tried to warn everybody for a long time, and I remember people didn't want to hear it.
Ron Paul, baby.
Yeah.
Ron Paul.
Or they would call you crazy, and you'd be like, really? I'm crazy? Why don't you look up Associated Press and see for yourself? Are you saying that they're lying about what just happened? And people wouldn't look.
But this is a democracy, Trev.
Propaganda.
Okay.
There,
I'm
there
not
was,
trying to trick
listen,
you,
there was
but- I know you did.
propaganda all the way back to hieroglyphics. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's just the nature of man.
So
What about hieroglyphics?
Propaganda. That's how far you can trace propaganda back. But people bury their head in the sand and act like things
Right.
couldn't be propaganda when you look at every
Well, propaganda
Point
is
of
legal
history.
now in this
Well,
country.
yeah.
They're
Well,
using it against people.
It's amazing once you
That's-
wake up what you start to notice because like so much as an article or you'll watch a commentator on TV, they'll try to paint a narrative and then they'll say things like supposed or alleged, They never cite sources anything, so it's really just them giving their opinion.
That's
Sure.
right.
Conjecture.
And trying to project that on the population when there's no
Projection.
truth behind it or very little
It's
truth.
called programming for a
Now,
reason.
Yep.
Before our internet took a shit,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you.
We were.
You always seemingly there's always evil shit and blah blah blah, and or some spirits are just whatever. But
Right.
have you ever dealt with angels per se?
There we go.
I don't know if I
Like-
would say angels, but spirit guides, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Spirit guides are not on the same hierarchy as angels.
Now,
So
they're the
That's
ones
right.
that like fly you around on Christmas Eve and show you like your past and
Nah, not really. So they'll help you navigate through life. So basically,
Right.
a lot of times they were people.
Pista Sophia?
Pista Sophia is interesting.
Is Pista Sophia's a spirit guide? How about Saint Germain? Count
You're
Saint Germain.
getting deep. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
I'm just.
Let him answer my question,
Yeah.
buddy.
Okay,
You're,
I'm
you're
sorry.
taking him off the rails
I'm
here.
sorry.
So from what I've come to understand and realize is a lot of spirit guides were people, and it's their mission on the other side to help the living, and that's how they kind of write their karma,
Chosen
so to
mission.
say. Yeah, so they'll help guide you with certain challenges, and you'll have different spirit guides come into your life at different points in
That's
your
their
life.
coin. They're buying their stairway to heaven.
Yeah, they're part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I've heard them come through. I can't say angels, but do I believe angels exist? Absolutely.
Now, how does
There's Gary.
flat Earth or round Earth tie into any of your?
The Earth's not either. It's fucked.
Well, Gary,
I will pay his quarter
Oh,
for
thank
that.
you,
You
sir.
know what?
Well,
I will
well,
absolutely.
you got it. Get it.
Pay
I'm
that
tired of
forward.
paying quarters. Gary, our
all
internet took
my
a poop
quarters.
there a minute ago, so we came back.
We're back.
because we wasn't done talking yet. That's
Okay,
what happened.
and you know what? And we picked up right where we left off.
Right.
And that was a great question. So the Goetia, you were explaining about the greater and lesser keys. Now Solomon brought them back because, or brought them around to help build the temple.
Yeah.
And what was really cool is when you read that story, it started off with one of the builders that was helping out, a human builder. It was one of the sons of one of the master builders. And he said that a demon was bothering him, and Solomon had the thing brought to him.
His other son was a fisherman, and he
And
was the
he-
masturbator.
He prayed about it real hard in his temple that he had devoted to God. And God said, hey, man, this ring right here, brought to him by angelic means, you cast this at these demons and it'll bind them, and they will come and do your bidding. So Solomon gave it to the boy and told him what to do. The boy did it. And when the demon came to take his portion of food or whatever that night, he threw it at it, said what Solomon said, and the thing was bound. And it followed him back to the temple. And it begged him, it offered him to tell him
All
where all the
kinds of
gold
shit,
was.
yep.
All of those cool stories that our legends are based off of
Yeah.
kind of stuff, in a way. And he said, no, you're coming back
There's
to the
that quarter.
king. And they went back to the king. And Solomon, talked to these things, asked them their names and what their ruling signs were and what their powers were and why did they plague men the way that they did and all kinds
All
of
that
questions.
shit,
And he
yeah.
learned everything that he wanted to learn
He
from
was
them.
the original demonologist.
That's right. And then they would make a deal where they would go out and get their lessers or their graders and do the same thing to them. And they would come back and then they would either be sent to work or released or however Solomon so fit. But there was a warning with one of the real powerful ones we started to talk about. And he's like, just remember, human, right now you have this power over us because you're beloved by God. But guess what? Let's see if anyone after you is as beloved because, it's going to get so bad
Yep.
once you're gone.
You're getting
yeah.
away with it now, buddy, but boy,
Right.
when you let us
Right.
loose.
That's what I was, that scary one under the Euphrates. That's my freaky one that I'm kind of conspiracy. That archaeologist, I don't know if you heard it or not, but people are showing animal reactions
Gary,
to
you're
it.
going
It's
to have to
those
quit messing with that butter, son.
bound angels under the dried up Euphrates, man. Ooh, that scream that they do down there makes the hair on my neck
stuff's-
stand up.
Yeah, how legit do you think that is? Though?
I think
Don't
it's
know.
some old bullshit.
Don't know.
You got to
I
give
don't
some,
think
some
the
more
story is,
context
but I think
on
what
it.
they're doing right
gotta
now
ask
is,
that.
I think it's...
Well, give some more context. 'cause
You
I
gotta-
don't,
you gotta
I don't know what
ask
you're
that.
talking about.
You're right.
What is it? There's a cave or a hole or something
Supposed to.
over
Well,
by
no,
the
Wait,
Euphrates?
is the haunted hole that we
I'll
were
tell
talking
you.
about
I will
before?
tell you.
This is a
seriously.
different hole.
This
That's a
is-
different hole?
This is right
Okay.
out. It's
and
biblical.
that one's not in my backyard.
He's about to describe the hole.
It's
All right, let's
it's
hear about the
biblical.
hole.
This archaeologist was over there fumbling around because they're finding all of these places with
When?
substantiated.
How long ago are you talking about?
Just recently because the Euphrates
within the
dried
last
up,
5 years,
which
Just
is a
look up-
prediction in the Bible.
Yeah, when the
Right.
Euphrates dry, it's one of the four
Right.
great rivers that runs out of
Right.
Eden. Is formed out of that. So when it dries up, there's a biblical prophecy that there's four.
I think
it's
KY
four
makes some
that
stuff
are
for
bound
that
up
drying up.
down there for a specific time.
Yeah, the Iranians are all behind that whole prophecy. Like,
And
a lot.
this guy goes over there and moves this rock, and the roar. You can see there's an abyss beyond it or something deep, but the roar that comes up out of that hole, man. So this gets play for about a year, and then I don't know. It was right around the time I got divorced. They were doing animal reactions to it.
I call it
It was
hogwash.
pretty.
What animal
pretty
rack?
wild.
Like they would bring a rooster over and
The
then,
Euphrates is drying up.
What
Look
are you
it up.
talking about? Like
Now I don't call
Bring a turkey.
pull the rock over and then the chicken's like, what do you mean animal reactions?
Look it up, and you'll
I'm
see
asking
the
you, like-
Euphrates is drying up. So,
No,
like,
that's right.
go down
That's
that rabbit
true.
hole,
They
and you'll
bring
see
the
it.
cow over
And
and
the
they,
whole stuff in the
unlike
Bible's
you,
true.
I-
I just don't buy this one here being true because there'd be more to it than that. There'd be more videos, more people freaking out. about it.
Nick, they always let it out. You know, they tell us everything.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Especially when you're gonna die.
well, if it's just a rock somewhere, why is he the only one? Is he the only one pulling it off? Like
Just look
somebody
up.
was there filming it, right?
Well, I question it just because it's so easy to fake anything anymore.
Sure, but
Yeah.
just look up.
Because I'm just saying, just like, go ahead.
Just look up Euphrates drying up, and then go down that rabbit hole. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
I've seen little
there's-
tidbits on it. Not
I'm
in
a
while,
historian, so
there's
like the
this-
fact that they're flying
That's
in
a
these
that's a
like Canaanite ruins, man, that are supposed to
You say
not
Euphrates
exist. You know what
drying
I
up?
mean? Is like,
What would you say?
wow.
Well,
Euphrates drying
it's
up.
in
Euphrates
Revelations that
River.
at the end times it'll dry
Oh,
up.
I thought you were talking about
I'm
And
just
it
saying
is
in
actually right
Revelation.
now. The
It's
levels
done,
are
pretty
way
much
down.
done.
No,
I thought that was
it's
Egyptian
dried up,
lady
guys.
And
Euphrates,
that,
and she
that's
was
due to
It's
the
dried up,
That's
guys.
due
Look
to
it
the
up.
cats upstream. They dammed it up, and they signed all these treaties saying they wasn't going to. And
Lots of water wars.
Yeah,
You're
there's
right.
all- Iran and all them that's
People
on that
gotta
river. They're having
War
at
of
it
attrition.
because that's why it's dried up because they're all diverting and taking all this water, and the people
part of it.
downstream are freaking out.
People
'cause
gotta
the
eat.
water's gone.
People got to eat. But take a look at some of
Imagine
the
that
drone,
if you run out of water, because people here in the United States couldn't even fathom that
the
right
drone,
now.
the drone
I would
footage.
Well, out west
Because-
they can.
I would
Yeah,
go
out
to
west.
the
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
That's just my
But
instinct
most
would be
people
like, go to water.
Yeah, I mean, you think
Leave
you could just go to
where there's
Walmart
no
and get you a
water.
bottle, but where them
Go
people
to where
at, most
there's
of the time,
water.
they count on that river, boy.
The-
But
the
I'm
drone-
glad other people don't think that way because then there's always some water for me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, being real about it.
The drone footage is really disturbing, though.
Oh,
rain, man.
and what I was gonna say is there's that one footage of the dude that's out in these woods and he claims he hears this Bigfoot roar and he freaks out. I gotta get out of here. And then I seen somebody else take that footage and reanalyze it, and it was a roar of a dinosaur off of a kids movie. The dude like slowed it down a little bit and put some shit on it, and dude lined it up. Thank God today's digital recordings, you can look at the analysis of the actual sound and line it up just like a thumbprint, which is another thing that they discovered with Bigfoot. If you go to them roars and all that stuff, they have their own thumbprint, unlike any other creature. Wolves have their own. We have, if we go, ah, our voices do a certain thing. Right. Everybody's, but a Bigfoot has it, and then they've taken the Bigfoot and actually slowed it way down, way down, and found out that in that scream, there's enunciation in it after slowing it down.
Banana
Well, yeah,
oil.
like
Yeah.
enunciation. Huh?
Have you ever seen the stuff about the guy that supposedly has parts of a dead Bigfoot stuffed in a freezer?
Yeah, I call hogwash on that.
Yeah. I haven't heard any more info on that.
Yeah, that'd be crap.
Yeah.
As much as I
They're
would
not
like
gonna
to believe that,
remains aren't going to start showing up now because there haven't been any ever. So, right? And
That's because they're in the other
that
dimension.
Gutman,
that's
boy,
why.
they be
right.
taking
or
it from you.
alien or whatever other possibility. I mean, it could be something that we're not even thinking of. So,
Man,
but
they probably chopping them up.
they
and
could be
feeding them to us.
shapeshifters, and
Soy
you're just
that
catching
orange.
them. You know, when they still look like a
Bigfoot meat.
Bigfoot.
Or maybe when they
Bigfoot
die, it's kind of like in Star Wars.
Government.
Kenobi, just because.
It's very
Eating that
possible.
shit. Y'all over there in that McDonald's, I'm hot. It's good. That's
Now,
that Bigfoot meat. That's
It's hard for
soy
me to
orange.
believe in them because of the obvious reasons, but it's interesting, and I've met people that
There's a
truly
whole new
believe
meaning
that
to
they
the
saw.
word moose knuckle,
I
doesn't
mean,
it?
they're not lying to me, but
I think there's been far
Fry up them Bigfoot feet, man.
far too many credible people to claim Bigfoot sightings to deny that there's
Yeah,
something.
that's the way I say too.
Yeah.
Chupacabra.
What,
Well, that's down Skinwalker Ranch.
Have you ever seen the Independence footage where the one picks up the baby and runs?
Runs like hell. You better run.
It's like in HD footage, man, and everybody, oh, it's so clear, it's fake and all this shit, but it actually picks a baby up and the baby's moving. And
a baby human or a baby
no,
Bigfoot?
baby Bigfoot. And that's what I'm saying. For somebody to go out in the middle of nowhere and do that, plus put a baby in a costume, and it's by itself, and it comes running through and goes in between these rocks and stuff, and then it picks this baby up and starts running and turns and looks at the camera and takes off.
Well, what happened to the baby?
Was the baby wearing a
it
diaper?
was
It was a
holding
baby Bigfoot.
Yeah, but what was the end result with
Was
the
he
baby? Oh, it was a
wearing a
baby
diaper?
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it picked the baby
Was it-
Bigfoot
It was
up
a
and
rubber
took
baby
off
buggy
running.
bumper.
It was-
That was a Bigfoot.
It wasn't
Banana
rubber
oil.
because it was moving and shit. It moved its head and its arms when it picked it up and all that shit.
I don't know.
It's
It
pretty
could-
wild
Banana
footage.
oil.
Right?
That one and the
I have
one,
not seen that one.
the one where the dude's he's hog hunting. I think it's Mississippi or something.
Hog hunting. I remember hog hunting back in my early 20s.
And that one's ripping a tree apart and it stands up. You ever see that one?
No.
That one's a good one too. That dude shits himself. And he's like, "Pow." But no, he's filming this thing and it's ripping this hollow tree. And you don't know, and it's
Bigfoot, where you at? You
throwing
watching?
this shit.
Banana
Same
oil.
squanch?
Yeah.
And then the thing
I take
stands up,
umbrage with
dude
that.
freaks out and takes off running. But Thinker Thunker analyzed that one and said that one also has a child. It was up in this
I want to
tree.
see him on one of those daytime talk shows where they're like, "You
Banana
are the
oil.
father."
I just seen a
Bigfoot."
clip.
Would it be like Chewbacca?
Yeah.
I just seen a clip on Casper's site where he was
I wondered what he'd been doing
reacting
since
to
the
these
movie
clips.
franchise
I was wondering
went down.
where he
and
was
this
sitting on
kid,
today.
his family was out in the woods, and this kid's looking like, "Dad, what's that?" And this thing got this weird look, and it like bends down and jumps like 20 foot up in this tree, dude. And they slow-moed it. Man, its arms and legs, this thing's got to be like 8, 10 feet
I think I
tall.
actually saw that thing, like a little mutant thing.
Yeah.
Was it like the
kinda.
bungee work from The Matrix?
I don't know. It was
Right.
kind of. I was kind of thinking CGI at first, but the more they scrubbed through it, I was like, man, I don't know.
Banana
It
oil.
was kind of weird, but I can't say for sure because hey. And you can do anything with these videos
I take
nowadays,
umbrage with
bro.
that.
Well,
You-
as far as I know, nobody's ever
Baby
been
Bigfoot?
killed by an apparition or ghost or something like
baby
that. So
Bigfoot.
it's hard for me to be scared going
I'm
into
not scared of that.
A baby-
any kind of facility that's haunted or whatever. So,
A baby Bigfoot.
but I
are
haven't been
deaths.
where you are.
Yeah, there are deaths
were.
that can happen.
Yeah, I've
and the
heard
other
of.
thing is, like,
How? Like, what do you mean?
when you're dealing with oppression and possession, it can make a person do things that is
Jump
not
out
themselves.
a window or
Yes.
shit like that.
Or
Run
do
in front
something
of a
with someone
bus.
else. So there is a real threat there.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were, that would be somebody that you would invite into your realm.
not always.
Like, you're not going to walk into a mausoleum somewhere and then all
I
of a
actually
sudden.
seen a video where a dude walking down the street and it shows a shadow and it jumps right into him and dude even like steps off balance and
around.
shit, dude. It's crazy.
So that can transpire, and then I did a case one time. There's a lady had her neck broken in the middle of the night. It was a crazy case.
shit.
I didn't even know this had happened. So this was our second investigation out at this person's house. Never said anything in a preliminary. Never said anything during all of our investigation. I get attacked in the neck at this location, and I very rarely do I have to walk away from a location, but I had to step outside for about 15 minutes before I could come back in. My neck was killing me, and it was out of nowhere. We were asking questions, getting interaction. I bring it up to the client at the end of the night whenever she came home, and she explains to me, she goes, "Oh my God." And I go, "What?" She goes, "I went to bed one night." She goes, "I never had neck problems." She goes, "I woke up in the middle of the night and my neck had been broken. I had to go to the hospital, and she had to get like rods and like all the stuff
Wow.
done to her neck."
Wow.
So this thing, I'm pretty sure, that attacked me broke her neck. So yeah, they can get physical and do things, but it's rare. It's rare when they
Mr. Piss Body.
do. Yeah.
I had wanted to ask you before the break, attic or basement, which one's scarier to you whenever it seems like overall, when you go into a strange place?
Overall, I would say
I would
attic.
think that. Really, I was gonna say I think them creepy ass basements, especially some of them old dirt ones and
Said
shit,
attic.
boys.
I've
He
been
did
in-
say attic.
I've been in so many, but the
You're
worst,
right. I think the more haunted is, the deeper haunts are in the attic.
It seems like the more malevolent stuff likes to go for attics, and I think it's because most people don't hardly ever go in their attic.
I know a house for sure. That
I wonder if
you
it
go
has
there,
something to
without
do
a
with the
doubt,
angles,
you'll find-
though.
There's
I know mine
multiple
was
things
very,
going
saying
on.
Mine was very scary in my house.
I've
in
thought about
1909.
that because some of the locations I've been to where we've encountered those attic entities, it's kind of like the American Foursquare style houses where it's like angled four
Apex.
ways or whatever, where it
A-frame.
almost makes like a pyramid.
Right.
I mean, not saying there's something to it,
Nah,
but
There is.
Yeah.
it's
There's
a
an
common
energy.
denominator I've seen.
It's an energy point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, pyramids have power. I mean,
All,
not just
all
that,
shapes
but-
have power. They're just certain different ones for each shape. That's what they say about them crop
Pyramid power
circles.
activate.
Them they're crop circles.
yeah, I don't know about the crop circles, but I know that I can put my palm over a well-constructed pyramid and feel something definitive, like an energy or a coolness or whatever you want to call it. Something changes, depending on how the pyramid's construction is and what it's made out of.
I was gonna say, does the material make a difference?
Absolutely, yeah. But I used to make them out of different things and experiment when I was younger, and I did razor tests and things like that.
I heard
and-
about that. So what's the deal with that?
Well, if you have for me, I tried it with two people in the house, myself and somebody else, and we shaved with two razors each side of our body. We did it twice. So once with the pyramid on the right side razor, once with the left, and it was marked. Like it wasn't even close. You know what I'm saying, on the life of the razor. So, I mean, how do you quantify that? Like, I don't know what I could have measured it in other than just, experience what we experienced, but it was for two people, equal results. We had different beard levels
Now-
and whatever. So.
What was the best material that gave you the most energy? I guess.
Now, was this inspired by
Copper
Napoleon
is
Dynamite?
pretty good,
I was
so-
going to ask Copper.
Yeah.
Copper.
Yeah. But believe it or not, I've had some pretty good ones made out of construction board.
now-
Like poster board. If you do it right, you can actually make some pretty good poster board ones. Surprisingly, I don't know why that works.
There was
but-
a couple
Decoupage.
pyramid molds that I was gonna get for me pouring some coppers and
Yeah.
whatnot.
You say you poured. I didn't know you were still into
poured.
that.
Yeah, and I'll
Unicorn.
tell you what, if you set one under a chair that you sit in a lot, you'll
I
have
was
some
gonna let you hit this, but
some
I'm not.
enlightenments, but you have to watch it. You can't.
Well, have
flood
you ever checked
yourself
out the
with that shit.
frequency stuff? Like as far as how to tone your abilities by listening to certain frequencies?
Yeah, we just started to get into that actually.
That stuff's fascinating.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I have a forge. I melt.
His
shit.
son's dabbling in some of that stuff now.
Yeah,
with
my
the third
son's
eye.
tripping out. I make
How
things
could
like
you,
that.
son?
That's made out of keys. A bunch of keys melted down as brass.
You might be interested. He's going to be getting these
Brass
things that
laddie.
I don't know if I can say what they are, but they
brown
eliminate zombies.
Yeah,
They
we're
come from
zombie-
Transylvania or something like that. So
Zombie cartridges.
he's got the exclusive contract
Formula.
with them, so when they get here,
Did you guys ever see Sig Sauer several years back released like a double gun set? It was like their zombie apocalypse set. That's pretty awesome.
that's
man.
pretty
If you ever get a
badass.
chance to check it out.
sweet.
I like hearing you say that name. Say it again.
Huh.
6 hour.
Sig
Sauer.
You said it right.
Sauer.
Similitude. I love it. Say it
Yeah.
again. Say it again.
That would be like the only cool part of zombies is just targets
Oh,
to shoot
man.
at.
It's coming
Yeah.
out. Are you a zombie guy, Otto?
Plenty of target practice.
Yeah.
Are you a zombie guy, Otto?
Well, I think that that it's plausible that it could happen, but I think it would be something more man-induced
Ooh,
than
right.
biblical. So, or it could be both, really, for that matter. But I'm not looking forward to it necessarily. So, and I don't know that it'll ever happen. But
They'll
it's-
just drop a nuke on the epicenter when it happens.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
but it's
No.
definitely plausible. I mean, I know how
We
There's
got to
ways
see
you
how
can
that
do it,
plays
so I
out.
mean-
that coffee.
We got to see if it comes
Yeah.
out like the movies.
Yeah. I'm
Ant
not
farm
planning
is
for one
slowly
other than,
rising
you know,
back.
I got an idea, but
What?
You need a lot of ammunition.
yeah. Yeah. Troll. Go.
What's
Don't die. 2 people.
So, what other places abroad have you went that you've explored or?
Well, Salem, Massachusetts. It started
Yeah,
to
you
talk
said-
about that a little bit earlier. I didn't take equipment out there to investigate out there, but my wife and myself, we stayed at the the Hawthorne Hotel there.
I stayed there too on one of the upper floors.
Yeah, we did too. We stayed on the 2nd floor, I think it was.
Okay.
And I know we had asked the front to put us in the most haunted location. So they gave us the most haunted room on the 2nd floor.
Did you have an experience?
I didn't, but we did have something happen in the middle of the night.
Okay. Hit me with
So
it.
I was tired. I had driven all day, so I was out like a rock.
Okay.
And we hear at about 2:30 in the morning. There's a married couple. It sounded like came out of the room in the hallway, and the wife screaming at her husband, going, "I'm not effing staying here. This is effing crazy." Just going on a tirade for about 5 minutes. Wow. And that woke me up from a dead sleep. And then my wife claimed she saw something at about 4:30 in the morning in our room. And she supposedly tried to wake me, but I was so out.
Have
I
you
slept
checked
right
out
through it.
the floor that doesn't exist in Timken Mercy Hospital?
I have not.
I've heard about that.
Yeah,
Malkovich,
they skip a
Malkovich.
floor, and I wonder if it's the
Malkovich,
floor that I
Malkovich.
was on as a child because of the hauntings that I've seen there. So you and I talked about that a little bit before, but
Yeah.
I'd like to find the kid that I was in there with. I know his name was Archie, and he was about my age, so he'd be about 53.
Last
from
name
Canton.
Bunker.
No.
Hey,
No,
Stipe.
but,
So you're telling me they have an entire floor that they don't use?
Malkovich.
When I brought it up to somebody that worked there, that's what she told me.
That's wild. If that's true, that's wild.
So I don't know if it's changed since she was
Malkovich.
there. Or, you
Nur-
know,
nursing
Malkovich,
homes
Malkovich.
have huge issues. You know, I've encountered people that work at nursing homes, and they'll
He's
actually
on
have
one.
rooms that they won't put people in any longer, and they'll
It's that
close
other
off that
floor.
section.
You never seen that?
and not go back there
so
because
it's
the
something
activity will be
that's
so
step
not
high.
into it.
uncommon.
They're in
No.
Malkovich's mind.
No.
But that's what I've been
Two
told.
shows going on
So
there.
I
one
think
time.
when you're at a
Malkovich.
location where you have just so much death that's transpired, I mean, you're bound to have paranormal activity that's going to happen. It
Right.
is gonna happen.
Residual
And
stuff.
if you go in and out of, if there's a lot of people, transferring from this dimension to another dimension, it probably beats that thing up, that little place where it's got to go through.
beat up?
And it starts loosening up and looking like a wizard sleeve pretty soon.
I know
And
we were
then-
talking about nursing homes, but man, this went south real quick.
Just saying, I mean, you're talking about going back and forth and in and out and in and out. I
Oh,
mean, right?
Shit. Sounds like a
So-
piston.
So then that's why those areas are haunted. It's just loose, man.
Is this why they call you Otto?
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Otto's
Actually, my
birthday.
name is because I was canceled. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And then really, it's more real than my
By culture?
old name anyhow. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, but for sure, man, those places can be jacked. Yeah.
yeah.
The Hawthorne was really scary in a way. I travel around a lot in New England, and of all the places where all the great authors, places, I mean, I've seen Tennyson, I've seen them all over there, man. And I don't know, the Hawthorne was really spooky when you were in the building. And leading up to it, too, the energies.
Well, you know the history of the land there, right?
Okay, so let me tell you, when I pulled up there, I was really aggravated by the drive. I don't know if your encounter through Boston was anything like mine.
Oh,
but
Boston's
I
terrible.
mean,
I was very
Love the people.
aggravated.
The city
okay?
is very.
And
not
you-
for cars.
You know what
busy.
I mean about how things are slightly different when you're in New England and you're driving
my
on city
first time to
streets.
Salem, Ed, was during the World Series.
Oh.
And I got stuck there for work.
Shit.
And I went to drive to Salem. I was on the south end of Boston. And went to
Okay.
drive
You
to
were a
Salem.
South-
so,
Southie, huh?
so
That
you
Well, I was there for a job.
Crazy.
so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
it took me 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours to go less than 20 miles.
I like an idiot because I didn't know the lay of the land and I just wanted to get out of the damn car. I went straight to the parkade, parked, and I paid to park,
Yeah.
So we had to walk 2 blocks. My significant other at the time was less than thrilled with this. Not like this guy. He'll tell you. I like to park, where I know my vehicle's okay. And when we got up to the front desk, there was this level of hatred, and between her and I, that had just crept in when we came into the building almost. And there was some issues with checking in, which we never have. Everything was done online in advance, but there were a few things discrepancies, and we got it taken care of. But it took about 30 minutes. And all this time, we're effing stewing, dude. And then we get upstairs into that room, and like there was just, oh my God, I just can't tell you. The whole time we were there, it was very dark. And did you feel that overall while you were there, like that? A dark energy in that building.
It was like, I don't want to say dark,
Okay.
but I'll say
What was the
older,
history of the land?
kind of stale energy.
Right.
I definitely felt that there. That's the best way I could describe it. At least me personally, I didn't feel anything dark when I was there. Now I did feel like it was active. And I guess the only way I can say that I can feel it, which I know those of you watching are probably like, that sounds crazy, is I'm actually a certified Reiki master, so I have a lot of practice and experience working with what you could call spiritual energy.
Is that like chi energy?
Sort
Do you have a
of.
Reiki heart?
I do. Very.
Okay, so it
Don't
helps
tell
with
it.
those
Don't tell
country
it.
spirits. So, yeah.
And whenever you do Reiki, are you dipping into people's auras?
Yes, absolutely. So it's the channeling of what they call life force energy into people's chakra centers.
Well, we talked off the air about how many sacrifices you do. Are you going to talk about that on the air at all, or all those rituals and things?
I will not claim that I sacrificed the 75 chicken wings I made over the past few months.
Yeah, you'll
The
have
same sacrifice. We're from the same clan.
Jared. You're gonna have to go back and watch the beginning of this show before the internet cut out because we talked about Marley Stark and we talk about Crybaby Bridge? I don't even remember.
We
No.
did.
Well, yeah,
But which one are
a
you
little
talking
bit,
about?
yeah.
There's like 3 of them.
Well, the one
Clinton.
in Rogues Holler.
How about you?
assuming.
How about you put some
I've
of
been
that?
to that one.
How about you put some of that out there? Where is Crybaby Bridge for everybody that wants to go?
Bridges.
Well, the main
talk
one
about
that I've
that.
had experience with, that's the one located at Rogues Hollow, and that is, if you look up the Rogues Hollow Historical Society, their building is right there by
Right
where the
there,
bridge
yep.
is.
And it ain't no big old bridge. It's just like a guardrail,
Yeah.
little road going over the creek. It's not what
And
you
the
would
story is that somebody abandoned their baby there, correct?
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
And that's every crybaby bridge.
Right.
I will say this, when I was a
If you go there
teenager,
on a dark night, you can still hear the baby crying.
I had an experience there on the bridge. Me and a friend of mine, you're supposed to go there at midnight. And you're
Right.
supposedly supposed to hear the baby cry. A friend of mine and myself, we went there and we're in a Fiero. So this tells you how long ago that
Wow,
was.
yeah.
And
Shout out, Chris.
Did you guys have like
I got a buddy that's still driving a
purple,
black one
shiny
right now.
Oakley
Awesome.
pullovers
Thank you.
on and stuff too? Or
Love you, Chris.
he actually had the Knight Rider lights. They used to be
nice.
in the front of Knight Rider. He had 2 of them, and he had one above each visor that would go back and forth.
Oh,
Nice.
It was priceless.
Nice.
yeah.
But anyways,
Sweet. He was killing it.
he was. That was rocking it back in
Right.
95, 96.
Nice. Good time period.
It was.
Cheers, everybody that remembers
yeah.
95 and 96.
Back when people talked to each other before internet.
Well, do you remember what the original social media platform was from way back, from all the way back?
What are you talking about, mail?
No, my face. Like you talked to me to my face.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
My face. right.
And before that, it was My Stone.
So, yeah, we're sitting there at the bridge waiting for midnight. It's like there was this energy that started happening, and I can only describe it as, you know how right before you're about to get into a fight with somebody when you're
Adrenaline,
younger, and that adrenaline's kicking, and you've got that nervous, just like somebody's twisting your stomach feeling.
Right.
It was like that, and it just got more and more intense until it was like 11:59. It was about to happen, and him and I both, like, say he's him, at the same time turn at each other.
Like,
Let's get
what?
out of here. Something ain't right. And we left.
Wow.
So, did we get spooked? We were teenagers. I mean, maybe we got spooked and fled out of there, but I know the feeling I felt, and the best way I can describe it is like if you're about to
It
fight
was
somebody.
real, huh?
Yeah.
Fight or flight.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. And it wasn't like we whipped ourselves up for it. We wanted to be there to experience. So it was it was strange.
Have you ever got to a location and you're like, nope, I'm not going in. Not doing it. Never? How about, have you ever got to a location and right out of the gate, the person just gave you the real, this isn't a ghost thing. This is the other thing.
Yeah.
It made your blood run cold kind of thing where...
Not make my blood run cold, but definitely make me more aware of my surroundings and what we're doing. I would say for sure.
Ever have anyone just make you downright uncomfortable?
People?
Mm-hmm. You get called out to a call and you're like, wow, it was a mistake to come here. You don't have to name anybody. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking about a situation maybe where...
A little bit. I mean, the person didn't make me feel uncomfortable. The situation did.
There you go. How about one of those? What's that? What's that like?
So we went to a location. They had told us they were getting all sorts of things that were showing up on their home security cameras.
Gotcha.
Sent me over some of their evidence they had. I couldn't make sense out of any of it. And I informed him, I said, hey, I really can't see anything here. Do you have anything better? He's like, well, you just got to come out and you got to see it for yourself.
Okay.
So rather than bring the whole team out, I took one of the other investigators and we went out to go check it out. Well, here what it was pixelation in the camera footage. It was a wireless camera system. So when those packets get received by the MBR, they pixelate at times. And it's like abstract art. Yeah, you can make stuff out of that.
Right.
But there was nothing concrete.
Pareidolia.
So I explained to this individual, like, hey, like, I don't see anything paranormal here. Do you have other stuff? And he's trying to tell me all this other stuff that he's got going on. And he's like, well, I got a picture of a ghost mouse. A ghost mouse? I go, what are you talking about, ghost mouse?
Oh, my.
Right.
He's like, here, I'll show you. And he shows me a picture, and he said he caught it underneath his entertainment stand.
It's a real mouse.
It was a freaking white extension cord.
Oh, my.
And the picture was slightly blurred, but you could tell what it was. And I'm like, well, bud, I was like, that's an extension cord. He's like, no, it's not. You can see the tail right here. And I'm like, oh, no. So we did a little just a field test going around, and we didn't see anything. But he was adamant, and then even afterwards, after we left, and it was one of those, that was kind of uncomfortable.
Now, on the convex of that, did you ever have someone that was so much in denial they didn't want something to be there, but once you got there it really was something?
We've had that happen with husbands more often than not. Because a lot of the times, if it's not a really nasty, the nasty ones, almost the husbands usually know. Not always, but almost always. The regular ones, the husbands are just like, yeah, I don't believe in this stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
Banana.
She's on Xanax.
Yeah, she's into crystals
Slipper a Mickey.
and that kind of stuff. You go out there and you do an investigation. You find 5 or 6 like pretty compelling pieces of evidence. That's it. You know, they can't deny that. So yeah, it makes it interesting.
Now, how about the whole, and I hate to use this word because it does catch a lot of shit,
Haunted
for lack
hole.
of a better word, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Have you ever gone out to one of these places where it's remote or whatever, and you found satanic activity or witchery activity going on?
Like that had transpired there previously?
Like when you got there, that's what was waiting for you. When you got there,
Or
you
like the
found it
people were
throughout your...
Satanists or something.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right. You never
No.
encountered anything like that?
Never encountered that. Knock on wood.
Now, do you guys drive around in a big white Cadillac hearse?
We don't, but I really want a black one.
You guys,
I want like a 62
you
or
guys
something
driving
like that.
around in a colorful van with a dog.
No, but we've joked around about it. Like, yeah, we should just get a hearse, so when we drive up on location, we do it in style.
Freak people out, probably.
Now, what
Amen.
intrigues you about what you're doing now? Something's got to keep you doing it. So, like, what are you kind of looking for out there, brother?
So
You're a real seeker. What are you looking for out there?
it started out, I was looking for the adrenaline rush. I'll be honest, I got into my 30s and started to notice things broke a lot easier, so I couldn't really do my dual sport riding and some of the other stuff I'd gotten into for a while.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to end up crippled if I keep doing this stuff. So I started to get into the paranormal investigating and having experiences, and then I kind of got hooked from there. But then it's evolved with all the people that we've interacted with and some of the cases we've come across, that it's really now just about helping people, trying to help figure out, one, what do they have going on in their home? Is it something they got to worry about? And how do you get rid of it if it is? Because there's nobody that can really help people out with this. You can go to the church, you can make a case for the church, but is the church going to come out? A lot of times they don't. And then where are you going to go? There's a lot of crackpot investigators out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some good ones, but there's a lot of crackpot ones that are out there for
to take your
attention.
money. That's right.
Yeah, they're out there for
Hits,
attention. Yep.
hits. Right.
And we don't charge when we do investigations. We do it free. So,
Do you take love offerings? What if somebody tries to give you money because you give them peace of mind?
well, we do tell them that they can make donations, but
Right.
we
How
don't
many
ever
people
press
really
it
do?
or anything like that.
All right.
We do it more to help people.
Tip
than
jars on the hood of the car.
I know we hit you with a lot of wild shit because that's what we do on here. We talk shit about shit, and we're getting down. We said
Yeah,
we
we
were going to
got-
go about
What,
another.
what do you got? You got some questions, Julie, don't you? What you
And is
Yeah,
there
here's-
anybody over here too? Let's light it up over there in the chat now that it's moving again occasionally.
We already just
is
already
it up?
addressed everybody.
You did? Okay.
Yep.
Good deal.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd like to thank everybody for hanging out again and coming back.
Yeah.
If you came back,
Like, share, subscribe.
the rest of you guys that didn't come back, go back and watch
Yeah.
this shit.
And we're still going here. We're going to go a couple more minutes. And I know we've got our last two that we always do. And I could see Tom's getting that perturbed look, so I'm going to nail mine back at you again. Pistis Sophia, Count Saint Germain, are they
I'm not going down that rabbit
spirit
hole already.
guides? Come on, man. What do you know about that stuff?
Here's the
Nobody
problem.
knows who those
Most
are.
people are not going to know.
That's right.
what
So
we're
what's it
talking
hurt for
about.
us to address it?
Read it. It's an interesting read. You want to find out what went down after Christ got crucified?
Put a fist in her. What'd you say the name was?
Pistis Sophia.
Pistis Sophia.
And look up Metatron.
Pista
look up who Metatron
Sophia,
is.
like
How about
that.
Metatron?
Pistis.
Metatron.
Pistis.
No,
Did you get
Megatron.
Did you
Is
get
she
into
pissed at
Can I
us?
get you to say that 3 times?
No thanks.
You gotta look in the mirror, don't you?
Oh man,
How about Metatron, man? Did you get into Metatron?
I've studied
wasn't
a
he the
little
wide
bit with
receiver for the
Metatron.
Detroit Lions back
No,
in the day?
he's like the.
He fought Godzilla.
He is the archangel.
Right.
And he's a human. Well, he was a human. I guess you couldn't really say that he's a human now. Technically, he's the archangel of angels.
Yeah, he kind of is the hierarchy. Well, he's up there on the hierarchy.
I find that absolutely amazing
It's fascinating.
that it is a human being. Because that story too. So, well, read it, folks. Read it. That's all.
Well,
out there.
if you think about it, truly, I mean, to be a human being and be perfect enough to transcend to that
Holy
level,
cow.
yeah, why wouldn't you be?
And then
Because look at the challenges humans have here in this realm versus what angels have to combat with. They don't have the temptation, at least not that I know of. They do.
That's a very
but not on
interesting-
a physical level like people do.
That's a real interesting one. That's a real interesting one. Well, there's overlapping. I've found 7 overlapping heavens. Is one of the ways I've seen it that I kind of ascribe to, and me and Z talked about it. There's an overlapping of them, and then at the top of that is where your holy guardian angel resides, and through practicing true gratitude for every day.
Yeah.
Even though the day sucks, and if you keep your vibration in that mindset, it's recognizable, I think. This is my personal opinion. It's recognizable by those ascended spirit guides. And I know people get mad when you use that word because they automatically...
guide.
You're a demonologist. Is a spirit guide a demon?
Do they dress like
No.
somebody at a Hollywood studio taking you on a
Is a
tour?
spirit
I'll be your
guide-
spirit guide on this journey.
Is
It's sort of like that.
Yeah, sweet.
Is a spirit guide a demon?
No. Absolutely not.
So a spirit guide's not a demon.
No.
Thank you. 3 times. Thank you for that. Because there's a lot of debate about that. They'll say, it's just a trickster. That's a djinn messing with your head.
I have witnessed far too many times people communicating with their spirit guides do some amazing, great, pure good work in the world.
Such as?
Like, I'll tell you this, mediums, for instance. I know multiple. My wife is one.
That's the work of the devil.
They say that, but yeah, that's
They
the,
say a lot.
That's to keep
So is
people away
foosball.
from it.
Football's the devil too.
I can tell you when she communicates with the spirit guide and she sits down with a client and say their husband or their dad passed away and it's a trauma they can't move past.
Sure.
And all of a sudden a spirit guide gives them a message that they're able to communicate to that client that lets them know that, no, your loved one is okay. And here is a clear-cut reason why, because he says, remember the thing about Disney World or whatever. And
Right.
here it has some type of
Right.
significant meaning. And they know in that second
Right.
that their loved one is safe
Right.
and has passed on and is in a good place. The healing that transpires when they cry and they let all that out. And they're able to move past that trauma. A lot of times it's kept them bound because like suicides are a big one.
Ooh, yeah.
People don't get trapped. I don't
Otherwise,
believe that at all. They don't necessarily get trapped when there's a suicide. A lot of people move on. A lot of people do. And that's one of the number one things when somebody comes in and they get a reading is they're concerned did that person move on
Now,
to
I
heaven.
want to, okay, now I got to interrupt you there because that means a lot of things. What do you mean moved on?
Moved on would be transcend to heaven. That they're not stuck.
It's like the
in,
Jeffersons, they were moving
Yeah,
on
because
up.
the church and the Catholic Church especially has taught people that people who commit suicide are stuck in purgatory.
What is purgatory?
Purgatory would be like
The burger joint.
it could be this space and you're eternally stuck in it. Could be you're stuck
like
in a void.
the waiting room at the emergency room.
Yeah, I mean it
You
could be this
sit
thing.
there
The board.
forever.
But this is
Plus
one of
a
those
day.
instances where I feel like the ancient people, if you want to call them that, they threw that into the Bible to deter people from committing suicide because population growth was huge back then.
Oh my gosh.
Huge.
So I want to back this up because we was talking about something about those angels and hierarchy and all that stuff and whatnot, because you know the fallen ones, they got pissed off at man and came down. And one thing, it was a question of mine and also a question of Larry's, and I got turned on to it. It was the fact of why would demons or the fallen angels want to come down and have sex with the women, because they're different. They don't have those pleasures that we have.
Those were the
that she was talking about.
Those were the
to have to go through.
Those,
I have
Wait! Time to freak out. Let me finish this. So the story that I understand, because I was like, that don't make sense. If you're like that, why would you need to have sex? You wouldn't need to. But the deal is because in heaven they all knew that Jesus was coming and Jesus was supposed to be born. But what they didn't know was they thought that Jesus was going to be born like we're born. So the reason for them to come down and have sex with women that was fair was to taint the bloodline so Jesus would have been born perfect. They didn't know God was going to make him born without the male part of it.
and you can send 1999 to join up.
So that makes more sense to me than them just coming down because of the pleasure of having sex with women. Why the hell would they even need that if you're, an angel in heaven, right?
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, I feel if there's truth to that it would have been to taint the planet, to taint the world.
Right. That was the whole purpose, to taint the blood. And that's why our DNA is diminishing as we go more further and further, is because they've tainted our DNA.
Well,
That's the story I heard.
Another crazy thing, because you talk about giants, giants were a result of them coming down
Correct.
and mating with human beings. If you look at the population, like the height growth of the population here in the United States in the past 100 years, and it might be globally, but I know here in the United States, the height of people have dramatically gone up. Like if you look at the average height of a man back in the early 1900s,
Everybody wants a basketball
yeah,
star.
it was like 5'6" or 5'8", something like that. I mean, guys were not
I
tall.
don't think it was even that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it was
5'4",
short. Yeah,
yeah.
they were much skinnier, much smaller. Now look at where everybody's grown to.
Right.
All right. Don't you got a last question there, buddy? We're coming up. Our producer's saying we're out of time.
Gots to go.
Oh man, getting the watch.
I'm going to let him shout out whatever he wants.
Huh?
I wasn't even talking to you
Oh.
or him.
I
was
thought you were talking to me.
I was saying, yeah, you. Don't you have a last question?
No,
You wasn't
well,
gonna
I
do
kinda
that.
did.
Your,
I kind of did.
What you did?
I'm not gonna be
younger to the
forced to
older
death.
person.
No,
something?
that's not. He's not. It's not the same.
Are you gonna ask her having dinner with? And
Yeah, of course. I always
Yeah.
have that question, but there's that other question.
that's right.
Yeah, he's always got a zinger, Trevor. That's why I told you to be
Oh,
on
here
your
it
So,
goes.
dadgum, Trevor, what do you think about our cocks and our pussies here?
I think you need a bigger cock on that table.
Yeah, that's the big one there. That's Ed's mass cock.
Well, you seen the ones that are like
He
this?
likes touching that one. It's a big one. We got this new singing pig now.
Singing pig.
You know why you F a duck and not a pig?
Why is that?
Because a pig will squeal on you.
Oh boy. Just ask Ned Beatty. Wow. So, you know what I need to research is some medications and some solutions for people that can't sit in their chair through a whole episode and have to pee 6 times.
Right. Probably one would not have 8 cups of coffee then.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Depends. Send him some.
Depends on.
Yeah.
I mean, we was just getting ready to go out, and then the guy's got to make us do this
Eddie
thing.
P. No,
That's
wait.
why I called
P.
him Piss Body. You remember Mr. P
Yeah,
Body?
Mr. Piss Body.
Mr. Piss Body.
Yeah. Well, how about
Who
that?
knows? So what's your next adventure? You got anything?
Right now, I'm trying to get all the editing done for the Ross House investigation we did. So that's going to be dropping here real soon on Facebook and YouTube. And then we may be getting into the mill there in Louisville here shortly. And then we got a call about a location over in Alliance.
The mill in Louisville, you said?
Yeah.
Downtown? Right
Yeah, the
outside?
feed mill. Yeah. Yeah, we were supposed to get in there last year, and then there was a problem with the scheduling. So then we talked about it. We're supposed to regroup.
The
and
ghosts
come
were
back
like,
to it.
look, man, it's summer vacation. We're out of here.
there
Like,
was a-
man, we only going. We got time, man.
There was a
Right.
guy who died in the original silo there, and then there's been a couple other deaths, and they have a whole bunch of paranormal activity that happens. So, yep,
Yeah.
we're supposed to go
Well,
in
you
there
can
and
check
try
out
to,
the Timken Mercy stuff and see.
Yeah, I want to look into that. I think that's interesting, especially now since they got bought by Cleveland Clinic.
You mean,
I'll give you some testimonial if you need it, because I saw
guy.
it. So, yeah.
Awesome.
We decided we're going to start a donation thing. We're going to get you one of them fucking piss bags you can stick to your leg. I just said that on purpose so we could donate.
Well, they make those ones that go in the underwear and then have like a hose
Yeah.
that goes out your pant leg.
Bladder
I had a
bag.
catheter
Ain't that a
for
bladder bag?
I had catheter for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We're gonna
didn't enjoy it
gaff
much
tape it to
then,
your
and I don't
penis.
want another
Sorry,
one
yeah,
now.
they have one of those.
But I'll say it was as big as my thumb,
Ooh.
and it was the largest gauge, she said.
We're
And I
gonna
got a
get
high
you
five
another
after
one.
she shoved it into my bladder, too. And then the blood clot was 14 and a half inches long. So any lady that says, I don't know what childbirth is like, she said to give the finger to. The 29th, I'll get to the bottom of what's going on. I'm just,
Wow.
it hasn't been a
Sounds
great
painful.
week.
Thankful to not have to do that. That took a dark turn to
We got one left. Well, it's nice to see everybody tune
Wow.
back in. We're at 18. Ow! Thanks, Trev, for coming in
Questions.
tonight.
Hey,
It was
thanks for
fun
having me, guys. It was a
Talking
good
about
time.
this
That's
stuff.
it.
And good night.
Good night, everybody.
Out.
Have a great night. Last of the questions.
Peace out.
That one didn't fly.
Check out Roach Hollow.
Yeah, again.
Good night.
Oh, man.
Didn't go.
A good thing I got glasses
There
on.
it went. See you, everybody. Have a great one. See you on
You're
the
no
next
Rick
one.
Smith.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.